Alright, so I'm going to show you how to make a soundscape for an indie game. I started with this little pluck from Serum. It's literally just a sine wave. I've done what Nest Acoustics has done. Shout out to Nest Acoustics, he's an absolute legend. I've pretty much taken one of his things, which is a sine wave, putting in some ambient or Foley sounds into the noise, using the FM from that noise, and actually turning it down and using that pretty much as your going into your oscillator. And then I've used his much loved reverb filter, and this is pretty much what we've got for the melody. A little bit of portamento, sounding lush, bit of reverb, hyperdimension, bit of distortion, and I've just taken out some of the lower end. Mix that with a pad. It's like sort of like a low pad that actually comes in. So I'll show you some automation. So this is gain automation. I've actually just used utility to be able to bring this up because I didn't want it to start off sort of in the track. So this is how these two start together. I've actually gained in on the master channel as well, the utility plugin, same thing. So what you see there is the gain coming up. Just trying to imagine that you're in, playing the game, and you've started the level or whatever it is, you've started playing the game, and you can sort of just kind of feel the vibe sort of come in, and it's not too overpowering. You can still hear all the sound effects. It's not going to affect your experience. It's just kind of laying a little sound bed for the rest of the game to kind of come to the forefront and really sort of let the visuals or the other sound effects, whatever it is, part of the story that you want to come through. You don't really want the sound to be too overbearing, but you do want it to be there and kind of set the tone. So that comes in, and then you hear the cutoff sort of coming up a little bit, and it is actually on a bandpass filter. And the plugin that I've used for this sound is actually a UVI plugin. It's a replica of I'm assuming it's the JX3P. Sort of see the cutoff kind of coming up. I've had a bit of a play with the resonance, and that's kind of the best that I got to. Because it is a band pass, it's not actually just bringing up the highs, it's taking away a bit of the lows as well. As you'll hear when I get to the end here. But let's not get it too ahead of ourselves. That is for the crescendo, the sort of the end point. And what I was sort of thinking was that you don't really want these sounds to be, you don't want to look at it necessarily like a song. It needs to be looked at as in it is a soundscape or a bed for everything else to kind of sit on. You are setting the sort of the sonic tone for the game, but you can't really look at it the same way in which you have sort of like a verse, chorus, or a really big build up. Because if you loop that, it depends on how long the person is playing the game for. So if you're looping it, and then the person is going to hang around in the scene and whatever it is, you don't want it to sound like it goes big and all of a sudden it's just, all right, it starts again. Because then you really hear that it is almost just, it is a loop. And you don't really want the player to be feeling like it is just starting and stopping, or they feel like they have to be getting somewhere and all of a sudden they're not, and then it kind of, almost feels deflating. So you want it to sort of go in kind of waves. You don't really want it to be too overpowering. But what I was actually sort of thinking with this, because this piece is going into a portfolio, I do need to look at it in terms, so kind of undo that thought that I was just mentioning, because the person who is going to be listening to this portfolio will sort of be listening to it like an album. So they're going to go through and listen to parts of it, and I want them to be semi-captivated by the sounds that we're creating here. So there kind of does need to be a little crescendo, or a little, this is where we're getting to. But for the game, you don't really want that. In all aspects, there is certain parts like that. Like if you're doing a fight scene, for example, or there's certain scenes that, or a cut scene where you do actually need it to get to a certain point in time, that's when you would do it. So moving on, we've got another little pad in the background. I'll just solo this one. I've just used Quanta for this one, which is just kind of my bass sound. I can't even remember the preset I put in. It might have even just been, I think it was a Frozen sound from a plugin. And that's literally just in the root note D. And the same thing, that I'm pretty sure that comes in. Oh, no, that comes in right from the start. So that's like those two together sound really nice, and then the third really fills it and gets that low end and sort of that mid range, really warm. And I've actually duplicated that quanta and I've gated it to the sound of the pluck. So this comes in later, but it's, so I think it's maybe 2 or 3 octaves up from this one. And it's literally only playing when the pluck plays, and it's really subtle. And I've wanted to bring that one in later because it's literally just adding in a little bit of tension, or it's sort of, you know, letting you know that there's more coming. And also a little bit more rhythmic. And then I've got UVI again. We've opened this one up, and this is, I wanted it to be like a, kind of, not like a pluck, but just sort of like a little background lead. It's actually a piano, but it's just got a lot of effects on it. I'm pretty sure I just used the preset. And I've taken off a bit of the bottom end and some of the top. So it's just sort of subtle in the background, but it adds a bit of ambience. And then there's a wind that I made, just a little. Now I love doing it in the Mini Moog, because you can sort of change between the white noise and the pink, and I actually really prefer the pink. The white is just a lot more harsher, and I think the pink is just better to the human here. And so, caveat, I am probably going to add in, this is still early on in it, but it is relatively done, but I am going to add in some more sort of swells and stuff like that. But I just wanted to show you the basic sort of feel of the song, and then you can kind of add in the, you know, your little textures and other things on top. And then to finalize, we're sort of building up a little bit here. The cutoff is being brought up on our pad. The wind's coming in. Some just really soft. And then we've got the Labs, Spitfire Audio, the little one, soft piano. In my opinion, it is the best free, did I mention free piano plugin that you can get. It is so nice, and I think a lot of people agree. I use this on most of the songs that I will make with piano. Just by itself, it's just... Now I'm just kind of playing around here. I'm not really playing anything in particular. This is just to add to the vibe at the end. I've just finished it off. Same pattern here. Filter's going up. Lovely. And so that sound, that little melody at the end, I think you could almost use that as your bass, sort of like the one that triggers your memory of, like, you know, we all have the games that we've played or the songs that we've listened to, that there's that one little melody or little lick that kind of gives you, it's almost like the hook that just gives you that memory of the song. Now, I haven't really continued this sound into the main section, we'll call it. I wouldn't say it's main, but just I forgot that I've got it on follow. And I've only done that because I really want this last to just be emphasized. And so if I was to keep having that melody play throughout, yeah, you'd probably get the same effect, but I think it really builds to it. Especially when you get that filter turning up and it's just like, it's all kind of lifting and coming together, and then it's just... And that is it. Now, if you want to see more things like this, more little tutorials, if you've got any ideas of things that you want me to recreate or games that we can, you know, make some new music over the top, let me know. I'd love to be able to do it. and follow along for more.